Imagine two people standing outside a coffee shop. The first pulls up in a brand new $90,000 luxury SUV. Designer watch, expensive clothes, the latest phone, and a house in a neighborhood where every driveway looks like a car commercial. The second person arrives in a 10-year-old Toyota. Plain clothes, no obvious designer logos, nothing about them screams, "I'm wealthy." If you had to guess who has more money, most people would pick the first person, and that's exactly where the illusion begins. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Looking rich and being rich are two completely different financial games. One is about displaying money. The other is about keeping it. And sometimes, the person who looks the poorest in the room is actually the person with the most financial freedom. But why? To understand that, we have to stop thinking about wealth as a number and start thinking about it as a machine. Let's say someone earns $150,000 a year. That sounds rich. So they buy a $90,000 luxury SUV. They finance it. Then comes the insurance, maintenance, registration, fuel, maybe premium tires. And suddenly, the car isn't just a $90,000 purchase. It's a financial commitment that follows them every month.
Now, imagine another person earning the same $150,000. Instead of buying the $90,000 SUV, they drive a 5-year-old car. They invest the difference. Maybe they contribute more to retirement. Maybe they build an emergency fund. Maybe they buy assets. From the outside, person number one looks wealthier. But financially, person number two may be dramatically ahead. The more money someone has, the less they necessarily need to prove it. Think about what a luxury watch actually does. It tells time. A $50 watch can do that. A $10,000 watch can do that. A $100,000 watch can do that. The difference isn't primarily about telling time. It's about signaling. You're communicating something without saying a word. I can afford this.
And humans are extremely sensitive to these signals. For thousands of years, people have used possessions to communicate status. Today, we simply have more expensive ways to do it. Cars, homes, clothing, watches, vacations, restaurants, even social media. But there's a strange economic problem hiding underneath all of this. The more you spend trying to look wealthy, the less wealth you may actually have left. That's the paradox. Let's simplify this. Imagine you have $100,000. You have two choices. You could spend $80,000 on something that makes you look wealthier, or you could put $80,000 toward assets that may grow or generate income over time. The first choice gives you something immediately visible. The second choice gives you something invisible. And humans naturally prefer visible rewards. Why? Because visible rewards get attention. Nobody compliments your retirement account. Nobody sees your brokerage account at a restaurant. Nobody takes a picture of your emergency fund. But someone notices the new Porsche. That's the trap. Consumption is visible. Wealth accumulation is often invisible. And because we can see consumption but can't easily see financial assets, we systematically underestimate quiet wealth. Now, imagine you're scrolling through Instagram. You see someone traveling through Europe. Then another person buys a new house. Someone else posts their new Mercedes. Another person is sitting on a yacht. And suddenly your own life feels behind.
But here's the problem. You are comparing your financial reality to someone else's highlight reel. You don't see their credit card balance. You don't see their mortgage payment. You don't see the car loan. You don't see the business debt. You don't see how much of their income disappears every month. You only see the output, the consumption, the signal. And this creates one of the most expensive psychological traps in modern personal finance. Keeping up with people whose finances you cannot see. You don't actually know if they're wealthy. You only know that they're spending money. Those are not the same thing. Now, let's say you get a big raise.
Your salary goes from $70,000 to $100,000. You feel like you can finally breathe. So you upgrade your apartment, then your car, then your restaurants, then your vacations, then your subscriptions, then your clothes. And suddenly, your $30,000 raise has disappeared. This is lifestyle inflation, and it doesn't feel like a financial mistake. because every individual decision seems reasonable. It's only another $300 a month. It's a better neighborhood. I work hard. I deserve it. And maybe you do. The problem isn't enjoying your money. The problem is when every increase in income automatically creates an increase in expenses, because then your lifestyle becomes dependent on your current income. And that creates a strange situation. You can earn more and still feel broke. Here's an interesting thought experiment. Imagine two Americans. Person A earns $250,000 a year. They have a $1.2 million house, 2 luxury cars, private school expenses, frequent vacations,
Designer clothing, and expensive restaurants. They spend almost everything they earn. Person B earns $120,000. They live in a modest home, drive a used car, invest consistently, avoid unnecessary debt, and keep their expenses well below their income. Who looks richer? Obviously, person A. But who might have more financial freedom? That's a completely different question, because wealth isn't about how expensive your life looks. It's about how much of your life you actually own. This is where the definition of wealth changes. Imagine you lose your job tomorrow. How long could you maintain your lifestyle? 1 month? 3 months? 1 year? 5 years? That's a very different measurement of wealth, because financial freedom isn't simply how much do you earn. It's closer to how long can your life continue without your next paycheck. Someone earning $300,000 but spending $290,000 may have less freedom than someone earning $100,000 and spending $60,000. Second person has something extremely valuable: margin. Margin is the space between what you earn and what you need. That space creates options. You can change jobs, start a business,
Take a break, handle an emergency, invest, say no. And that's something a luxury car can't necessarily buy. There's another reason genuinely wealthy people may not feel the need to display wealth. At a certain point, money stops being primarily about objects. It becomes about control. Control over your time, control over where you live, control over your work, control over your schedule, control over your decisions. Imagine having enough invested assets that you don't need to accept every job offer. That's wealth. Imagine being able to handle a $10,000 emergency without borrowing. That's wealth. Imagine being able to leave a toxic workplace because you have years of living expenses saved. That's wealth. None of those things look impressive in a photograph, but they're incredibly valuable. People often think luxury means buying expensive things, but the ultimate luxury may actually be not needing to buy them. You don't need the newest phone. You don't need the newest car. You don't need everyone to know how successful you are. And once you stop needing external proof, you can redirect money toward things that increase your actual financial power: assets, savings, investments, skills, businesses, education, time. That's when the financial machine starts working in your favor.
But there's a reason this is so difficult. Humans are social creatures. We care about status. We want recognition. We want respect. We want to feel successful. And businesses understand this. That's why entire industries are built around status. Luxury cars, designer fashion, premium memberships, exclusive clubs, high-end real estate, limited editions. The product isn't always just the product. Sometimes you're buying the story attached to it. You're buying the feeling, the identity, the signal. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that. The problem starts when the signal becomes more important than the financial foundation underneath it. Let's say you buy a $70,000 car because you want to feel successful. But that purchase delays investing for several years. The cost isn't just $70,000. It's also everything that money could have become. That's opportunity cost. And this is one of the most overlooked concepts in personal finance. Money has 2 lives. You can spend it today, or you can give it a chance to work for your future. Spend $1,000 today, and you get something now. Invest that $1,000, and over a long enough period, it may become significantly more. The exact result depends on returns, taxes, fees, and time. But the principle is simple. Every dollar spent has a future you are giving up.
And that doesn't mean you should never enjoy your money. It means you should understand what you're trading. So the next time you see someone driving a $100,000 car, don't automatically think that's a rich person. Think they drive an expensive car.
That's all you actually know. And when you see someone driving an old Honda, wearing simple clothes, living in an ordinary neighborhood, don't assume they're struggling. They might be, or they might have quietly spent 20 years building assets while everyone else was busy trying to look successful, because there are two different scoreboards. One measures how wealthy you appear, the other measures how financially free you actually are. And those scoreboards can produce completely different winners. Maybe being rich isn't having the most expensive house on the block. Maybe it's being able to stay in the house you actually love. Maybe it's not having the newest car. Maybe it's not needing a new car to feel successful. Maybe it's not taking the most expensive vacation. Maybe it's having enough money that you can take time off without panic. Maybe wealth isn't the ability to buy anything you want. Maybe it's the ability to say, I don't need this, because looking rich requires an audience. Real wealth doesn't. And the biggest financial flex might not be something people can see at all. It might simply be waking up one morning and realizing that your life doesn't depend entirely on your next paycheck. It's wealth.